Okay, so this is the second beat repeat tutorial. In the first one, we had a look at the parameters and how the beat repeat actually works. If you haven't seen that video, it's worth checking it out. You can catch that on the YouTube channel. If you have seen it or if you're already comfortable with the parameters of the beat repeat, this video is going to look at some practical examples of how to use it in a track. So this is the track we'll be working with. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is use it on the hat pattern. So the hats are a standard offbeat affair. And what we're going to do is throw the beat repeat on there. And the idea is that I want to add some stereo information to the hats and some glitchy bits, some ghost notes, that kind of thing. So in order to do that, we're going to group up the beat repeat. And I'm going to create 3 chains by duplicating that out. The first one is going to be the dry signal. It's going to come straight down the middle, so we can take the beat repeat off of that. And the next couple of chains will be panning left and right. So I'll do the work on one beat repeat and then we'll copy it and throw it onto the next chain. So first thing to do, I want it on gate so that it's just playing when there are repeats and we're not repeating that dry signal. I want it to work once a bar, and I'm going to select one note that I want it to work on, or one hat that I want it to work on. And if I just bring the grid in to 16th notes with Command 1, I'm going to go for this hat here. So if this is the offset at 0, this will be 1 and this will be 2. So let's move the offset up. If I just solo this, and we're not hearing anything. And this is one of the things with the beat repeat. Sometimes it does some surprising stuff. It's quite a quirky effect, and it's just one of those things you've got to embrace, really. Now, there is a way of forcing it to spit this out when we want it to, and that is to throw another MIDI note in. If you are working with audio, you could throw any sample on a short audio clip and bring the volume down to 0, and that will be enough to trigger the beat repeat off. But let's have a listen now. And sure enough, you can hear that it's spitting out the repeats off of this second hat here. Now, it does present us with one problem, and that problem is that, of course, the dry signal or the dry chain is going to pick this up, and I don't want that to happen. So what I'm going to do is throw an audio effect rack in here, and we'll just add a new chain to this. And then I'm going to automate the volume down so that we don't end up hearing that when we put the dry chain back in. So let's have a play here. I'm going to change the grid around a little bit and the variation. Let's go for maybe 5, so we're getting slightly different repeat grids coming out of this. And because it's ghost notes that we're after, slightly more subtle stuff, we'll bring the volume down and we'll have each successive repeat decreasing in volume. And also I'm going to chuck the filter up a bit on this as well. Have just the really high end stuff, and also we'll bring the chance down so it doesn't happen every time. So let's hear what we've ended up with. Might not be able to hear that, so I'll give the channel a boost. And I'm actually going to bring the gate in a bit because some of these repeats are going on slightly longer than I would want. Okay, so let's copy this, throw it onto the next chain so we don't need that beat repeat anymore. But this time I want it to work on a different hat. So this time let's go for the third hat in the sequence. So for that one, we need an offset of 10. So So sometimes we won't be getting much out of it. Other times we'll get quite a bit, depending on how the dice are rolled behind that chance parameter. And if I add the dry in, so this is just getting caught as it loops around, but that will disappear without a loop. So if we just play it from here, for example, there we go. So let's take this off and bring this back down in volume. And it's quite a subtle thing. You can turn it up if you prefer to have these ghost notes a bit louder. So ideally what you would then do is record the audio from these this beat repeat effect and just sort of manipulate it and do what you like with it. And that's what we'll do with the next example. We're going to do something a bit more full on this time. So there's a small break in the track a bit earlier on. So for this one, we're going to put the beat repeat on the master out. And let's have that sitting before the limiter. So there's a limiter on here, which shouldn't be doing anything at all. It's gone a bit crazy by the looks of things. Let's just go backwards a little bit. There we go. It's not doing anything. It's just there in case there are any nasty overs. If you're messing around with feedback or anything like that, it's quite handy to have a limiter on there to save your speakers and, more importantly, your ears. So with this beat repeat, we are going to set this to insert. So the idea being that we don't want to hear any of the dry signal at all when the repeats are playing. Throw the filter on. And I'm just going to take out the low end because we've got some bass that's going through this small breakdown. Change the intervals down so that this is working more rapidly. It's taking more slices, 4 in a bar. The grid, again, I'm going to take this away from 16ths, just nudge it up a little bit and give it some variation to avoid the really fast, crazy stuff that goes on when you get right down to the really tiny grid sizes. And I think that will probably do. Let's have a listen to it. Okay, yeah, so there's some interesting stuff going on there. Flick this round, and what we're going to do is record some of that. So we'll set our audio input to resampling, so it's going to record what's coming from the master out. And let's see what we can capture. Perfect. Let's drag this over, drop it into place on the arrange page, and then on the master out, we can get rid of the beat repeat. We don't need that anymore. There's nothing to stop you keeping that on and re-recording, seeing what results might come out. And now we're in a position to edit this down and, of course, to chop up any of the existing audio that we had in the arrangement. But let's see, it might work straight off the bat. So actually, that's not too bad. Now, obviously, quite a bit of messing around could be done to make it better. Let's just get rid of this bit on the end here. And perhaps take this stuff out where we've got the kick roll going on. So that's a bit crazy loud. It's probably going on a couple of times, whatever this sound is. And so if you were to carry on with the odd bits of glitch or even throw a delay on this just because it ended a bit abruptly there, that would work out quite nicely for the rest of the track. So you can see there are some pretty cool things that you can do with the beat repeat, and we're really only at the tip of the iceberg with this tutorial. There's plenty of other innovative things you can do with it. So next time out, we'll be looking at one of the other audio effects. Do hope you've enjoyed this video. As always, any comments are welcome. Take care.